What's good, everybody? It's the Golden Centurion here, back at it again for some Draft League content. So today I'm bringing you guys my NSI Week 3 matchup versus a good friend of mine in Jero. So he's drafted an insane team. He has Megalopony, who's one of the faster mons and puts on a great amount of physical pressure. Kieran Black, who is one of the highest attack stats that we allow, as well as he has the ability to be special. Miss Magius, who's pretty fast, and I can see bringing choice specs. His Jirachi, who Jirachi's always a pain to go against. Salazzle's a fast threat that hits decently hard, and Honchkrow is a mon that I haven't gone up against too much, and that kind of scares me. However, it can be mainly a physical sweeper with Moxie. So the sets I'm predicting him to bring were, of course, physical Lopunny, return, and probably Thunder Punch to go ahead and hit Skarmory. I was expecting Kieran Black to either be Choice Scarf or Icium Z. So that can mainly allow him to take on Mega Venusaur a bit better, who otherwise had a potential to wall him. Miss Magius, I was expecting probably to be Life Orb or Choice Specs, as that could allow him to put the most pressure on my team. Jirachi, I didn't know. If he brought it, I assumed he would probably be Choice Scarf, or else Greninja easily revenges him, and Infernape easily revenges him. His Salazzle, I was pretty sure he was going to be a Choice, either a Choice Specs or a Life Orb variant, just so he could put on a bit more pressure on my team. However, I could see why Choice Specs wouldn't be brought, as I had Skarmory, so he can lock himself in the Sludge Wave, and I was pretty positive that his Honchkrow was going to be a physical sweeper with Moxie. So the team I decided to bring was a bit more bulkier that relied on Jolteon and Greninja to put on the offensive pressure. So I brought my Phantom, aka Dusknoir, over here, who has Frisk ability, so I can see any item they're bringing, so I right away know if they're going to be choice locked, or if it's an Icium Z or something. So I brought Will-O-Wisp to help me take on these two threats. Seismic Toss, basically, so no substitutes really getting set up on me. Earthquake, mainly for V's, to Salazzle and Jirachi, and then Pain Split just so I could get some more recovery. My Venusaur is a bit of a mixed spread, mostly physical bulk though, to allow me to take on the Megalopony. I have Synthesis, Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain, and Earthquake. Earthquake so I can take on Salazzle and Jirachi, Sludge Bomb and Giga Drain just for some stabs. Next up is Greninja, who's I think is a pretty cool set this week. Life Orb so I can hit pretty hard, and then I have Gunk Shot for the Primarina that he didn't bring. I have Dark Pulse for Miss Magius and Jirachi. Hydro Pump, as it just hits really hard, allows me to take on Salazzle. It'll be what I choose for Honchkrow and Lopunny. And then I have Low Kick. So Greninja couldn't really put on the most work against Kieran Black unless I had brought Low Kick, and Low Kick will allow me to two-shot the Kieran Black. So if I could catch it on a switch in, or if it's just low after rocks, it's great. Next up is Sparky, my Jolteon, who I've actually brought Metronome. So Metronome is a pretty cool item. Sadly, I didn't get to use it all that well. But Metronome allows me, basically, if I use Thunderbolt, it'll first be neutral damage. Then if I use it again in concession, it'll be 1.2, 1.4, 1.6, 1.8, and it'll cap at 2. So his team was kind of a bit spammy with Thunderbolt and stuff, or Shadow Ball, depending. So I decided to bring Metronome. Didn't have the best results, but you guys will see that in a bit. Next up, I have Ravenclaw, my Skarmory, who, instead of going Sturdy this week, I brought Weak Armor. So I brought Weak Armor as it was my switch-in for Lopunny. If it went for Fake Out, I would activate my Weak Armor, and then I would be able to outspeed it because I get a +2 boost and kill with Brave Bird. So that was really cool, I thought. I also brought Hazard Stack against him with Spikes, Stealth Rocks, Roost, and Brave Bird. And then we got my Tarzan up here with Jolly Nature, Expert Belt, Swords Dance, Mach Punch, Fire Punch, and Thunder Punch. So potential leads on his behalf. I expected either it would be a Choice Scarf Mon, his Lopunny, or Salazzle, just one of his faster Mons. That's what I was pretty sure about. So my designated lead here was most mocks has been Jolteon, as I could probably Volt Switch out on anything. And if it's his Lopunny, I have a great switch in with Skarmory, or I can go right into Dusknoir. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the battle. So he goes into Salazzle, I go into my Sparky. So as you guys can see here, he'll switch into Kieran Black, and I decided to just go straight for a Thunderbolt. Maybe, possibly, if he stays in, I'll be able to get the Metronome boost in a bit, but he goes into his Kieran Black, who will resist this it. So I go for T-Bolt here, and I didn't know what his set was, didn't want to try and take an Earth Power, really didn't know if he was Scarf, so I didn't really want to Volt Switch out. So I decided to just go ahead and straight switch out into my Dusknoir. So I get my Frisk and I see he's ICMZ. His Dragon Claw does about 40% after leftovers, so I know I could take another one for sure. And I know he's ICMZ, so he's probably physical, is what the damage revealed to me. So I decided here to go for Will-O-Wisp. However, as you guys can see, this is a bit of a passive play here, as he decides to switch into Mismagius. Onto my Will-O-Wisp, and I don't know what set he was here, so I decided to switch out. And at this part of the match, I decided to go into my Jolteon. As Jolteon, I don't think was as valuable as my Infernape or my Greninja, and my Mega Venusaur is pretty crucial to this matchup. So Shadow Ball does a lot, and it's a crit, however. So this crit basically means that Sparky is at a really low amount of HP, to where if he ever gets up, I'm for sure in Fake Out range. If his Jirachi is rocks, I'm in rock range. So I don't really have the most usefulness in keeping this around. However, that damage also does reveal that he is Choice Specs. The only way he could do 97 is if he used Choice Specs critting me. So I decided to just go for a Shadow Ball, get off a big hit, as he decides to kill me out with his own Shadow Ball. So I decided to revenge here, so I go into my Greninja. So I'm out here for my Greninja, and I'm not going to really mess around here. I probably should have just gone for Hydro Pump, but I've missed a lot, so I just go straight for Dark Pulse. It does a really good amount. He sees I'm Life Orb. So my switch in for this is probably my Ravenclaw, which it is. He goes for Brave Bird, and as you guys can see right here, I'm weak armor, so my defense is going to drop and my speed's going up twice. So looking at his team, I could have decided to save this for Mega Lopunny. However, I knew that Brave Bird would do a lot to Salazzle. It would damage his Kyurem. It would put rolls a bit more in my favor. If he decided to preserve Honchkrow, it was doing 25% of that. So with my speed boost, I decided to go for some fast rocks here. Also, this thing's getting dwindled down fast. And I'm pretty sure I could live any hit here. However, he whips out a nice Heat Wave, and that sends my Skarmory into Oblivion. So that was some really cool tech on him. However, based on his HP, I know I can revenge him with my Mach Punch from my Tarzan. So that's exactly what I do here. And this will allow him to go straight into Jirachi. So going straight into Jirachi, obviously that's Screaming Choice Scarf. My best switch here is, I didn't know exactly what he wanted to do here. If he wanted to just go straight for a U-turn, then so be it. But I was not going to risk my Tarzan taking any big damage. So I go straight into my Dusknoir. However, the problem with this, as you guys can see, is since he does click U-turn he can go straight back into his Mismagius, which is Choice Specs. However, after Rocks and his first burn, he will be dying to another hit, and Phantom Hero is my most sackable mon, as these three, as I said, were crucial to the game plan. So here, I didn't know exactly who he wanted to go into after the switch. However, I knew Mega Venusaur was my best case against the majority of his mons. So that's exactly what I do, because he goes into Mega Lopunny. So here I know I could take any hit, so I decide to go ahead and Giga Drain to get more health back, and because I know he can't 2-KO me. However, he reveals a nice power-up punch, and because Giga Drain went off, he is not in 2-shot range since I didn't decide to Sludge Bomb. I wasn't really predicting a power punch. I thought he might just go straight for 3 turns. So that was some pretty cool prep on his behalf. So here it's Sludge Bomb has a chance to knock him out. It's a bit of a roll, a bit more in his favor though. And I believe I'm living 2 returns based on my defensive investment. So he goes for his first return and does 51, as I thought I would probably live 2. And I go for my Sludge Bomb, and it brings him down to 2. However, I get the poison, which is unfortunate for him. And so I'm now here, and he goes into his Kyurem Black. While that did matter a bit as it saved some HP on my Venusaur, I was going to live a second one, and as well as the fact that it's a 30% roll on that. So he goes into his Kyurem Black, and as I've already switched him my Dusknoir, I already know that he's ICMZ, and ICMZ will knock out my Mega Venusaur 100% of the time. So my least valuable mon right here now is Infernape, as it's outsped by Salazzle, it's outsped by his Jirachi, who's Choice Scarf. So, and Greninja will be able to outspeed Salazzle, and I can put on pressure a bit more. So I decided to switch right out here. I decided to sack off my Infernape, probably to this incoming ICMC, which he does go for, and bop! Resisted does not matter. Infernape drops. So here, I know he's not ICMZ, so I can potentially, or he's no item anymore, So I can try and stall him out with Mega Venusaur, depending on his spread. However, I think it's in my best interest to go into my Greninja and finally put on some offensive pressure. So I reveal my low kick, which, as I mentioned earlier, would two-shot this thing at any range. So that's a dead Kieran Black. I don't think you predicted that. So now he goes into his Scarf Rachi. And this is a bit of a 50-50 here, as I know I can live a U-turn, as I've seen earlier based on his spread. My Greninja is living any U-turn, and he can possibly... So I can stay in Dark Pulse, I can stay in and Hydro Pump, or I can switch out into my Mega Venusaur. However, if he gets off the U-turn, I know Mega Venusaur can still take any hit from Salazzle, and I can recover up. He cannot go for a Zen Headbutt or a Psychic here, predicting me to go to Mega Venusaur, as I have, obviously, Greninja is a Dark type. So I decide to fire off a Dark Pulse here, I believe, or a Hydro Pump, maybe expecting the U-turn. So he goes for U-turn. As you guys can see, I easily live that. He goes into a Salazzle, takes 25% from rocks. I go for a Hydro Pump, that's right, and I miss my Hydro Pump. So here, you guys can't see because the whole pause button, but I am in range of Torrent, meaning my Hydro Pumps are going to be boosted times 1.3 now. So I know Hydro Pump, if he decides to switch into Rachi, which is probably his only chance of winning now, that Hydro Pump should be able to pick up the kill. So he goes into his Rachi, and because of my Torrent range, my Hydro Pump is for sure knocking out Scarf Rachi. So that is pretty much GG, as I have Earthquake on my Venusaur, even if I do miss this Hydro Pump right here. But I land it. So that's GG to my good friend Jero. So we picked up a 2-0 here. There was a bit of a hacks on the Megalop. However, that wasn't really the biggest impact, as my Mega Venusaur would still be alive, and the Jolteons didn't really matter as much. As you guys can see, I didn't really need it. So thank you guys, everyone. This was my Week 3 NSI matchup, and I will be sure to catch you guys later. See ya.